TG Geeks, episode 256, January 13th, 2020. Frida and her many friends. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, it's still winter, but it's still kind of nice outside occasionally, except at night.
Well, this weekend it's supposed to be particularly cold in the morning.
Oh, well, anyway, let's get on with it. Get on with it!
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, this time we have an interview with Odalys Nanin, who plays Frida Kahlo in a stage play that she's written about the last days of Frida. We have our birthday shout-outs. We have our featured podcast of the week, everybody's favorite feedback, shout-outs, and in our second segment, we got a couple of things to talk about, and the weekly recap as well as our regular shout-outs. So we're just going to get right into it right now. And this time we welcome a really interesting character. Well, she plays an interesting character. Let me put it that way. She plays an interesting character. We have Odalys Nanin of the Matcha Theater Company, and she's going to tell us why she has an interesting character. Welcome to the show, Odalys.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me at your show. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So tell us.
I love it.
Yeah. Tell us about who is Odalys Nanin, and then we'll segue into Matcha Theater Company, and then the interesting character. How's that?
Who is Odalys Nanin? My goodness. Well, I am a Latina, lesbian, playwright, producer, director, actor. And I founded Matcha Theater Company in 2000. Matcha Theater is an acronym for Mujeres, Women, Advancing Culture, History, and Art. And, that's what we do.
Wow. So have you always wanted to be an actress or actor, growing up, or do you have formal training?
How did you get into the business?
How did you get into this? How did you discover this
This art form.
Art form, yeah.
Sure. I was always like in the choir or, little stage plays back in high school. And then when I went to college, I was going to go into political science. And then I needed some extra credits. And somebody told me to take living theater. And I took living theater. I met a wonderful professor there, Vern Smith, who really inspired me. Teachers are amazing. They can inspire you to do just about anything. And he cast me in one of his plays, and he told me that I really had the talent, that I should pursue it. Besides that, I also joined the Cuban Club, and I acted in one of the plays that they produced there at Rutgers University. I went to Rutgers University in Ivy School.
Oh, wow.
And after performing the play, I was able to cry, and I experienced this epiphany because I had never been so involved and so in touch with my feelings. And then I thought, oh my God, I found what really fulfills me. And what fulfills me is to study the characters and bring them to life on stage, whether it's movie or TV or on stage. And I found my calling that way.
Wow. So I guess you would say that then you're really into the method acting then.
Well, there is not one method for acting.
Well, I mean, in the
very general
sense of quote unquote method acting, you do all the research and you get into character, and that means something to you.
Oh, of course. No, yeah, that's the only way to do. I mean, I think, in my opinion, there are many different ways of going about it. I think actors find their own preference.
Right.
And what I do is combine several techniques is what I do. I don't just use one. And I apply that too also when I'm writing, actually.
Oh,
I'm a fan of Hemingway, and I love what he said. Good writing is true writing, and true writing to me means being true to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What I find interesting is how before you fell into acting, you were going into political science. Now you're into this acting as a career, and I dare say almost possibly even a lifestyle in of itself. Do you find this also serving as a good means to be able to go into that area, of information that political science would have offered you?
Oh, no. What happened was that I became so enthralled with living theater, and I was also taking piano lessons, and I was kind of undecided, so I was taking different things. And I thought about political science because I was thinking of going into law school.
Uh-huh.
And then what happened is I just fell in love with theater. I fell in love with the form of the media, the artwork, the whole experience, that I dropped it.
Okay, well, there it is then.
There you go.
And I focused on, on living theater. I also took French and Spanish. It was an experience. But I also, I really fine-tuned my craft because I went to the Shakespeare Conservatory in New York City, the National Shakespeare Conservatory in New York City, which was excellent in terms of technique, and they don't do method there. They do something different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's to me, to the unwashed, shall we say, or somebody that is not in the biz. What you do with the, getting into character, what you do to prepare yourself sounds very much like what the general term method acting is. So. Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so, that's what I did. And then I started doing a lot of college plays, and then I went on to the Berkeley Repertory Theater. I did some plays there. Then I went to New York, and I did some plays in New York. And then I kind of, drove across country and came to Los Angeles, California, and I fell in love with the geography, the weather, so that's where I'm here now. I'm actually Cuban. I was born in Cuba, and but I grew up in the East Coast.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask what your heritage was because you happened to mention a Cuban play, so I was wondering if that was part of your heritage or not. So that is fascinating. So I assume that your family, the rest of your family, immigrated, or?
Exactly. Yes. No, they're here. Most of them. Some of them are still in Cuba, but most of them are here, either in California or Miami or New Jersey.
Wow. Kind of spread out.
Yeah.
Hit all the spots.
So now we've followed your life.
Yes.
You've come to LA. You have formed this theater group, and now you are taking on a role that you have. I guess you've written this play. You're directing this play, and you're starring in this play of one of the most colorful ladies in history.
Yeah, colorful is definitely...
That is the word.
That is the word.
She's very colorful.
In all forms.
Being Frida Kahlo.
Yes, when I came to LA, I realized that there was a voice missing in the theater, in everything. And so I started writing my own plays. And Frida, Stroke of Passion, is my 10th play. The first play that I wrote was called Love Struck, and I produced it at the Hudson Theater. And that was a romantic lesbian comedy, and it did really, really well. And then I went on to write God Was Given Lover and The Nun and the Countess and many other plays. And then I founded the theater company because it needed a space There were no spaces for this type of, lesbian or women Latina stories. So I founded Matcha Theater, and we had our own space in West Hollywood at 1107 North Kings Road. We were there for about 11 years. And then, of course, gentrification took over that place. And they doubled the rent, so we had to relinquish the space. But we continue on producing. And so this play is the culmination of all that work that I did before, because this was the last play that I produced at that venue at Matcha Theater in West Hollywood. And then what happened is that Frida, Stroke of Passion, came about because everyone, my friends, they kept asking me, when are you going to write about Frida Kahlo? Now, Frida Kahlo is an international icon. She has really been written about, filmed about, and I thought, as a writer, I needed to find something new, something interesting, something that would pull me in to write about her. And then I realized that nobody had ever touched or dared to explore the last week of her life.
Right.
Or her bisexuality. Everything was kind of like pushed under the carpet in terms, she had a lot of men lovers, like Leon Trotsky and Jose Bartoli and those other men. But nobody really explored the bisexuality of Frida Kahlo and her mental and physical, spiritual state of mind during that last week of her life. And so, voila, this is Frida, Stroke of Passion.
Wow.
Play that I just...
That is
fantastic. We open.
That really is fascinating. What was the movie? I guess it was
It was simply called Frida, I think.
Yeah, it was Frida, and
it was with Salma Hayek.
Yes, which we loved.
And it was great. Yeah, we have living here in Phoenix, obviously, too. There's a lot of Frida devotees here. And she just is a fascinating woman, and just her whole power, and of course her little cameo in the movie Coco is it's delightful. I can't say enough about Frida.
Yeah,
I love her art. I love what she did. She was a very, very strong woman.
She was a force of nature.
Yes, and so I think it's great that somebody is, willing to look at some of that dark underbelly of, shall we say, of her life, and to kind of demystify some of that, but yet elevate her even more and say she was really way far ahead of her time.
Yes, she was. She broke all the norms.
All of them. Every single one of them.
Any norm she could find, she broke it. What I find interesting... go ahead, please.
No, I was going to add that what really... she was born July 6th and she died July 13th.
Right. Within
that week is the time of the play.
Mm-hmm.
And so through that week, I explore, in that week time, a lot of things happened in her life. She had her birthday party, and she had a lot of people come and visit her. And then all of a sudden, on the 13th of July, she dies. So I started exploring, why did she die at precisely this time, and why during this time? And so then I reveal a mysterious cover-up about her death and how she really died. And so the play explores that issue that is kind of like rumored that she committed suicide, but it was a cover-up that happened. So I explore that as well. And also, Frida loved music. She was always singing, or she was always surrounded with people with musical instruments. And so there's a lot of music in the play. There's live music, there's singing, there's a tango dance. So it's not just, all about her pain. It's also about her state of mind in terms of what led her to make that final decision. So what happens is that Frida, at that time, she was between sleep and awaking, because she was either on Demerol or she was drinking. She drank 2 bottles of whiskey a day just to numb her pain.
Right.
And so what happened to her is that the last week of her life, she really wanted to paint, but she was so either drunk or, with pain pills, that she couldn't hold her brush steady enough to finish her work. And I think that really did it for her in terms of her life and making that decision. And also her right leg was amputated from the knee down in 1953. So she also had to deal with that, and she couldn't hide that. She was an amazing concealer. She concealed all her imperfections. She was really fascinating in terms of how she managed to be so colorful and so brilliant and so divine, and yet under all that, the real Frida was really a handicapped person.
Right.
So that's why it makes her such an amazing international icon, because she really represents the underdog, the people that have no voice. And she, in fact, the last demonstration that she did was a few days before she died, and she protested. In her wheelchair, she went to protest against the government of Guatemala in terms of how they treated their indigenous people. So she was a voice, someone to really have a representation. That at that time, there was no one to represent those people at that time.
Right.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that that, and you touched on this a little bit, is that there's a bit of a mystery surrounding the last days of Frida's life. And obviously, in putting together this play, you did some research. How did you manage to find any of these details in her life so that you could put together this story?
Well, I went to different libraries, and every library has different books. And then I started reading things that people said, or people that saw Frida 2 days before she died, how she behaved, what she said. And so I read a lot. I read a lot. I saw a lot of old documentaries. And that's how I did my research. And then I Googled something like, for example, I said, I wonder who was the lover of Frida Kahlo. So I Googled it. And all of a sudden, this thing comes up, which stunned me because I couldn't believe it. And her last lover was Teresa Provenza, who was a Cuban spy.
Yeah, she was very involved.
Wow, wait a minute. This is very interesting.
Yeah, her political intrigue was fascinating, too. All of the people that she surrounded herself with.
Surrounded herself with a lot of women who were politically active. Women that were really like Teresa Provenza and many other women. And she was very politically connected. You know, she really was. And so I also explored that relationship with this particular spy, a Cuban spy that she had this, relationship with. And that was her last lover. You know, she had many lovers throughout her life, both men and women. And there's also Maria Felix. There's also Tina Modotti. There's Josephine Baker. There's Leon Trotsky. Of course, Diego, the passion. Diego was everything to her.
Right. So
that was the love of her life.
Yeah.
Diego.
So you've talked a little bit about people approaching you and saying that when are you going to do something on Frida, but now that you've actually done all this research, what is it about Frida Kahlo that really speaks to you?
Gosh, what speaks to me is her bravery. She was extremely brave, not only because of her physical pain, but because of what she did. She lived in a time that was very chauvinistic, especially in Mexico. Very strict in terms of society. Back then, 30s and 40s, women were dressing with these tie skirts and, thin eyebrows and, the right makeup. Well, Frida broke all that. She didn't care about that protocol or how a woman's supposed to dress. She accentuated her, for example, her mustache. Most women were, getting rid of the mustache. She accentuated her mustache. She accentuated her eyebrows, made them really, darker, and she accentuated those things that she felt were innate in her. And so she had a duality, a sexual duality. She had both female and male attributes, because by accentuating her eyebrows and her mustache, she is bringing out the masculine side. And by wearing her beautiful Tijuana outfits, with the flowing skirts and the huipiles, the blouses, and all the jewelry and the braided crowned do that she would wear, all these things were very feminine. But at the same time, she accentuated her masculinity, and that was captivating. You see, I felt that she was very brave. She didn't care what other people thought, She drank tequila. She had a very loud laughter. She was a very happy person, regardless of her surgeries and corsets that she wore. And she loved. I think she was very passionate in lovemaking because she had only spells of health. In other ways, most of her life, she was bedridden or in a wheelchair. So when she was feeling good, she wanted to make love.
Right. Well,
she used to say, from the dinner table to the bed. That was her famous phrase. I'm not kidding you. From the dinner table to the bed.
Okay,
that's interesting.
Well, I suppose will there be a play about that? I mean, my goodness.
Call it From the Dinner Table to the Bed.
There's a lot of activities. If you come see the play, you'll see.
Right.
There's a lot of activity happening on the bed because it's a memory play. It's a flashback play. Mm-hmm. So she is remembering those good old times that she was in Paris with Josephine Baker. So then, boom, Josephine Baker appears and dances for her, and they go to bed together, and, they make love. And it's a really interesting, so it's this kind of like reverie, because you have to understand the character of Frida Kahlo at that time was in between that reverie, between taking the pain pills and waking up and then drinking to numb the pain when she wakes up. Mm-hmm. So she is in this kind of reverie in the play. And there were only really, there's only Diego, Nurse, and Teresa Proenza, and Manolo. Those are the four characters that really are alive on stage. All these other characters like Maria Felix, Teresa Proenza, Tina Modotti, Maria Felix, and Josephine Baker, these are characters that come to her bedroom. Mm-hmm. In her, state of being in this kind of like high, state.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Fascinating.
So there's a lot of media in the play too.
Uh-huh. So you've got this play. It is, you've got this run coming up. Tell us more about where people can learn about the play. Where will it be playing at? How can they get tickets? The dates, all of that.
Sure. It's playing at Casa 0101 Theater in Ball Heights. It's a beautiful space. It's opening February 7th, 8th, 9th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. So it's 2 weekends, Friday and Saturdays at 8 and Sundays at 2 p.m. And you can get your tickets at matchatheater.org, O-R-G. We'll take you right into Eventbrite as well. Eventbrite, we have tickets there. We have early bird tickets at $25. The tickets are on sale right now. So you can go to Eventbrite or you can go to matchatheater.org.
Fantastic.
Wow. And does Matcha Theater have a social media presence? And do you have a social media presence?
Well, you can definitely find me on Facebook. It's Facebook, Odalys Nanin. I post a lot of things there. And there's also the Facebook for Matcha Theater. I also have a Twitter and an Instagram account. So all you have to do is put my name, Odalys, Odalys, Nanin, Nanin, and it will pop up.
Wow.
Fantastic.
This has been just a I hope we can make it out there.
I would love to make it out there.
It really, something in the back of my brain is saying that we've got some things that are planned on one of those weekends, but I hope we can make one of the others.
It would be wonderful if we could, because as Keith said earlier, we are just enamored with all things Frida. She's a fascinating character. She truly was a force of nature. And to be able to see this new element of her life, I think it would be just beyond entertaining and enlightening.
Yes, I think you'll have an awakening.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Frida Kahlo.
Yes, thank you, Odalys, for being on our show this time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me at your show.
Hi, I'm Eileen Beach, best known from The Exorcist, playing Captain Howdy. And you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
There's a reason for that.
Uh-huh.
You'll see later. And now, here's a few selected birthdays for January 13th, 2020 through January 19th, 2020. January 13th, Liam Hemsworth. He's the brother of Thor.
The brother of Thor, yes.
Yes.
But not Loki.
But not Loki. And Orlando Bloom, Legolas and Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yep.
as well as many other things. And Michael Pena.
Oh, my God.
The crazy explainer of things in Ant-Man and the Marvel movies.
I
Oh, my
really
God.
think that what they should have done before they did Avengers Endgame is they needed to get his character to come back and do, well, this is what happened so far kind of thing.
Exactly.
It would have been,
They should have.
It would have been hilarious.
Exactly. And then we have Charles Nelson Riley.
Oh, my God.
Apparently he did something other than Hollywood Squares, according to IMDb.
Well, he did have some regular bits. I think he was a regular on it was an ABC sitcom, The Ghost of Mrs. Muir.
Yep. And
That's what I remember him best as.
yeah, and among other things, he did a lot of voiceover work, too. So.
And I remember he also had a role. It was an ABC children's show. Oh my God, Eugene, remember the name of it? But it's about these hats it's a world of hats.
I see.
And he was some evil magician or something like that. I wish I could remember the name of it now.
And then we have Gwen Verdon, who
Oh, my
was
God.
a dancer and actress, and Lola in Damn Yankees. What Lola
Probably
wants,
my favorite role of hers.
Lola gets. And William Hung, singer,
Yeah. Okay.
maybe? Nope, not really. Trevor Rabin,
Formerly of
film
I think
composer.
film composer, got his big break. Well, actually, he got his break in a band called Rabbit when he
Right.
was in South Africa, and then he made his way into Yes.
as well as several other things. And then we have William B. Davis. He's the husband
Cancerman.
of Ann B.
Ann B.
Davis.
Davis. It's a fact.
B. Davis is the last name.
Yeah. No, if I remember right, he was Cancer Man in the X-Files.
And in Continuum, he was Old Alec.
Oh, God.
Yep.
He was so good in that.
Yes, he really was. And then we have Facebook friend Merrick MacArthur, who was in Case of Evil.
Ah,
Yes,
oh,
by
yes.
Our friends Neil and Jana Holford. January 14th, Dave Grohl.
Formerly,
Foo Fighters, Nirvana.
He was the drummer for Nirvana. Then Kurt Cobain dies, sadly. And he reinvents himself and becomes the guitarist lead singer for Foo Fighters. I mean, wow.
And he's played with just about everybody.
He's an amazing musician.
Yeah,
He's really strong.
And he doesn't read music.
A lot of band members don't. Turns out a lot of them don't know how to read music.
Yeah.
Many of them don't. In fact, I think very few members of the band Kansas know how to read music.
Oh my gosh. Interesting.
I mean, yeah. Imagine that.
Wow. And he's a huge LGBTQ plus ally.
Oh, big
dating
supporter.
back to the 90s.
Big supporter.
Big supporter.
The man is awesome.
And I've heard that he's amazingly generous with
He's a terribly kind
time,
man.
money, resources,
He's
everything.
I cannot say enough about Dave Grohl. I think he's a fantastic human and a great musician.
Yep. And then we have Carl Weathers, recently seen in Mandalorian. Yeah. And Grant Gustin,
Barry
Flash.
Wrong.
Oh, wrong Flash. And that crazy short film with Tom Cavanaugh.
Oh my God.
what a crazy thing.
I can't repeat
Just
some.
like
Jazz hands.
Yes, there you go.
It's hilarious. Okay, thank you for reminding me. I'm going to put a link in the show notes for this episode where I give a review for this short film that Grant did.
Oh my God.
It is hilariously funny.
It is so
I
funny.
loved it. It was great.
And then we have Andy Rooney, who was a crazy old guy on 60 Minutes.
He had a very whimsical way of looking at things.
Yes. And Faye Dunaway.
Oh my!
She's been in a lot of things recently too. I mean, she's just been a working actress, but most known for Mommy Dearest as Joan
Crawford. Yeah.
And Henri Fantin Latour, who was a painter, a French impressionist. And the only reason that I put him on here is because your mother has a painting of his, or a lithograph, in her home, and I guess it was a Legion of Honor, Palace of
Oh,
Arts,
yeah. I know.
something.
I love that work. Yeah, I didn't know that was, okay. That's a great piece of work.
Yeah. And then we have Facebook friends Anthony Ecclesi. Happy birthday,
Happy
Anthony.
birthday.
Jack Mangan.
Happy birthday, Jack.
Billy Zayak. BJ Johnston, and a former classmate of mine, Terry Goodpasture Hayes. January 15th, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., pastor and civil rights activist. Aristotle Onassis. Man, just
A lot of history behind that guy.
A lot of history. I mean, just an incredibly wealthy person, a shipping magnate, and he was a patron of Maria Callas, and then he married Jackie.
Yeah.
Whoops. That kind of came
That
to
did
an
not
end.
do well for Maria.
Yeah, and then we have Lloyd Bridges.
Oh, my.
Actor, Airplane, among others. He was
That'll be my favorite role.
yeah, father of Jeff and Bo Bridges. And he was considered for the part of Kirk on Star Trek, original series.
That's right. I had read that.
Yeah. Then we have Edward Teller.
This is the scientist.
Founder of the Lawrence Livermore, a founder of the Lawrence Livermore Labs. He was called the father of the hydrogen bomb. He hated that name.
He was embarrassed by that. I mean, he hated that name. I had a coworker who actually met him because he was like director emeritus at the lab,
right.
And my friend worked in the PR office in the very front, and he said that he then messages me while I'm working there. And I worked far inside the lab, and then I get this message saying, I just met Edward Teller. So we got together that night, and he started telling me all about how he was, and he walks with this walking stick and has this really pronounced accent.
Yeah.
And just, he loved to regale people with history, and he was never happy at the fact that the bomb even came into existence.
Right. Well, there's just reading the Wikipedia article, he was a number of Hungarian scientists that immigrated in the 30s. They were referred to as the Martians for some reason. That's weird.
Who knows?
But anyway, it was a fascinating person. He was, yeah. And then we have Charo.
Now, didn't we just cover something on her?
Yes.
She
was the wife of Xavier Cugat.
That's it.
And she was a fabulous guitarist. And she also appeared in Pee-wee's Christmas Adventure. Adventure, yes. And Andrea Martin, a character actress. Oh my gosh, she's been in a little bit of everything. But I think my favorite role of hers was in Hedwig and the Angry Inch. She was Phyllis Stein. Yes.
Loved her in that.
Yep, she was great. January 16th, Lin-Manuel Miranda, singer, songwriter, composer, all-around showbiz guy.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hamilton.
how wonderful was it that we got to listen to some of his music again last night as we were watching
Moana.
Moana.
Yeah.
I mean, the songs are fantastic. I mean, he's really talented.
Yep.
No question.
And then we have Ethel Merman,
Oh, my.
Broadway and screen actress.
Larger than life.
Oh, my God, yes. And your mother gave us a DVD of Call Me Madam.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
my
actually
gosh.
rather good.
It really was.
I enjoyed it.
It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then we have John Carpenter, filmmaker, creator of all the horror tropes that you see in films today.
He's kind of like one of the archetypes for
Yes.
independent filmmakers.
Exactly. And let's see, January 17th, Muhammad Ali, boxer, activist, philanthropist, and just all-around great guy in the latter years of his life. Too bad that he had Parkinson's, and it took its toll on him. It certainly did. And then we have Betty White. What's to say about Betty White?
She's still going.
Yeah. I have this little saying. I don't know whether I should say it or not.
Uh-oh.
The bitch that keeps on ticking.
Oh, my God. Well, there it is.
Well, she would like that.
She might. I mean, she can get really, really blue.
Yeah. And then Jim Carrey, actor, comedian, turned activist.
Yes.
Yes. Benjamin Franklin, founding father, inventor, witicist. What a colorful life he led. Not his autobiography, but his biography was just it was fascinating. All the things that he did, where he came from, what he did, how he it's truly amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He is another one of those that knew he was making history.
Oh, he was very much aware of what was
along
going
with
on.
John Adams and several others. James Earl Jones, many things, but most recognizable for
Darth Vader,
the
voice
of Darth Vader. And Eartha Kitt.
Okay.
What a talent.
What a talent. Okay. You're right. She is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when people think Eartha Kitt, okay, they maybe think the last actress to play Catwoman on the Batman series, Santa Baby. But to me, she is always going to be Yzma
In
from The Emperor's New Groove. Yes.
Oh, my God. She was just brilliant in
I
that.
loved her in that.
Yep. And Sherry Lewis,
Oh, my God.
the wife of Jerry Lewis.
It's a fact.
You know, she spent her career with, to quote another line from that same episode.
With a hand up a lamp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then Vidal Sassoon. Who hasn't heard of Vidal Sassoon? Cosmetics
know.
industry.
Right.
You know. Carl Laemmle. He was a filmmaker, and he took part in over 400 films. He was the owner of Universal until his death in 1939. Amazing. Just tremendous, proponent of early film.
Right.
And then we have Kim Winston, Facebook friend, and Shirley Morris, friend of ours. January 18th. Dave Bautista, wrestler turned actor. He was Drax the Impaler. Impaler.
Drax the Impaler? Please tell me that was a faux pas.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Drax the Destroyer.
Wow.
Yep. And then Cary Grant, who was in North by Northwest, among a lot of other things. He actually quit acting in like the 60s and was asked to come back. Died in 1986.
Yeah.
So he just lived on his laurels, I suppose, everything that he made. Danny Kaye. Wow.
Now that man was a talent.
Dancer. Wow, yeah.
I remember in the later years, he would, I don't know if he did this annually, but he would go to Lincoln Center and conduct the symphony in this I think it was an annual event for charity, and he would conduct, and it was hilarious to watch him do that. I mean, he'd be conducting the orchestra doing Flight of the Bumblebee, and he'd do it with a fly swatter.
Oh.
Really ridiculous stuff like that.
Crazy stuff. Then we have, who's next?
A.
Milne.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. Pooh the Winnie.
Yeah.
Yes. Oliver Hardy. What do you say about Oliver Hardy, other than Laurel and Hardy? Yeah. Ray Dolby. He worked at Ampex Labs and was a key contributor to their quadruplex videotape machine released in 1956.
Holy smokes.
Yes. He was very instrumental in getting that going. And he later invented the noise reduction system known as Dolby NR. He was also the father of Thomas.
Was he really?
He actually did have a son named Tom.
But it's not the Thomas Dolby. Please.
I don't think so. Anyway. Also on January 18th, good friend of ours, Scott Linder, Larry Nemechek, and then we have Aaron Thompson. January 19th, Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Pete and presidential candidate, openly gay.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton, singer, songwriter, actress, and philanthropist.
Quite. And another very friendly to the LGBTQ community.
Absolutely. And Edgar Allan Poe, poet, author. Madman, a lot of horror. Oh, my gosh. Janis Joplin, singer from Beaumont, Texas. You know, if you were Beaumont, Texas, you'd do drugs, too.
Yeah, you'd be pretty messed up.
And Jean Stapleton.
Archie!
Yes.
She was
Edith. Bunker. And she was in Damn Yankees also.
Yes, she was. She has a hilarious bit in there, and she is the sister to Maureen Stapleton.
Yep. And then James Watt, an engineer. He was the inventor of the steam engine. Paul Cézanne, French impressionist. Tippi Hedren.
Oh, my.
Oh, my gosh.
She's interesting.
Psycho,
Yeah.
She wasn't a psycho. She was in Psycho.
In the movie.
In the movie, yes. Well, I don't know whether she was a psycho or not.
Well, we have we haven't heard anything.
Yeah, but anyway, Elizabeth Tulloch.
She
also
was
known as Bitsy.
Bitsy. She was in this series Grimm.
Did we talk to her at Slice?
No, it wasn't her.
Oh,
it was the other one.
We talked to several people.
Yeah, I
from
talked to a
Slice,
couple of
yeah.
people from the
Grimm.
series.
Yeah.
She's currently married to David Giolante, who was the star and played for a time her TV spouse, whatever.
Yep.
And she has recently been cast to play. Well, she was Lois Lane in an episode of Arrow. And she will be returning as Lois Lane in an upcoming CW series, Superman and Lois.
Interesting.
And I've seen her portrayal of Lois. It is wonderful. I couldn't be happier to have her take on that part.
Great. Michael Crawford, singer, Broadway singer.
Phantom of the Opera,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I think is probably what most people know him
Yep.
from. But it goes back as far back as Hello Dolly.
Hello Dolly.
The
Oh
movie.
my gosh, well, he was very young.
Yeah.
Well, that was. They were all very young in that film.
Young.
Yeah. And Thomas Kincaid,
I love his
painter.
work.
Yeah, and that's it for the birthdays this time.
This is Pinky here. You and I and the brain are listening to Krypton Radio. Sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. Love.
Go give a listen to all of our friends over at Krypton Radio. It's not a podcast. It is a 24-hour geeky internet radio station.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
And now, what time is it?
Time for some feedback. Starting with episode 253, we got a comment from everybody's favorite Arkle, Brian Weber. He left this on YouTube. He says, I have a quote-unquote disco shirt. I think he means like Star Trek Discovery.
Right.
Specifically, the command
We were
training.
talking about it,
right.
yeah.
Specifically, the command training program version they introduced in season 2. I like that one better because it has the Starfleet Delta on the front, albeit not that big. In fact, it's small enough that my orange safety vest from work obscured it. So one time I got on the bus, and this one dude looks at my shirt and just goes, "Disco? Disco is dead." Then proceeded to give me dirty looks the entire bus ride and at the transit center while I was waiting for my second bus home. Like, I'm pretty sure the guy wanted to mess me up because he thought I was wearing a shirt referring to a genre of music that had peaked before I was born. Okay, Brian, you're killing me. Yeah. What can I say but yikes? And then also in that same episode, we gave a shout out to Bernard Cribbins because it was his birthday, and he says, and Bernard Cribbins was also in the second non-canon Doctor Who movie with Peter Cushing. That is true. I do remember that. So he wasn't playing Wilfred, though. He was playing a cop, and that is true. So, moving on, regarding the Santa Barbara International Film Festival to host world premiere of short film Tribes. We got a comment from Patricia Chica. We love Patricia. She says, thank you, TG Squared Studios, for announcing the world premiere of our new film Tribes. See you next month in Santa Barbara, California. That is our feedback for today.
And you can leave a comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. You can also leave comments at Twitter and Instagram or any place else that you find our podcast or our articles. If you want to, you can leave a voicemail on our voicemail line. It's getting moldy and dusty, and we'll have to blow off the dust to get that. But if you want to leave a voicemail, you can, and you can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. We want to give a couple of shout-outs. One to Madame Askew's temporal entourage. She's a charming and cheeky mistress and designer and teacher of steampunk fashion. This weekend, she's actually in Palm Springs doing a corsetry workshop. And she and the Grand Arbiter have live tea sessions every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific and Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Join them for tea and conversation. And consider supporting them on patreon.com. Search for Madame Askew. We are huge supporters of independent creators, of course, like filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. Please buy their stuff. Chat them up if you see them at book fairs and cons, etc. Buy their stuff. Have cash for them. It's kind of nice that they don't have to pay the credit card fees. Please consider supporting independent creators. The Joshua Tree Feeding Program is a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV/AIDS community of Maricopa and Pinal counties. They are a place where they can select, the clients can select from a wide variety of nutritional foods to take home, and it's set up like a store so that the clients can choose exactly what they want so that nothing is wasted. They are an all-volunteer organization. Please consider supporting Joshua Tree either through a single or a monthly recurring gift. You can go to jtfp.org. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Okay, we got a couple of things I want to touch on. As of the recording of this episode, I learned something this morning that just absolutely gobsmacked me in a bad way, and that was the passing of Neil Peart. This one hit me pretty hard. I was really upset about it. I've never met the man. I've never corresponded with him, but I do have a 1 degree of separation in that Neil and I have a mutual friend in author Kevin Anderson. You told me about Neil's passing this morning, and Neil's work as a drummer and as a writer in Rush, it was such a formative part of my musical development. I mean, in terms of the music that I still love to this day, being prog, progressive rock. I don't know what to say about this. It's like a part of me just died when I learned of this. And you've accompanied me to a couple of Rush concerts. I mean, granted, you didn't know that he was the chief lyricist at the time. I'm devastated, just devastated by it. But I do want to share. It was really fun getting to know getting to know Neil through Kevin Anderson, because I worked with Kevin when I was working at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab, and Kevin was working there before he broke off and became a full-time writer. And I remember. One day, and this was short before I moved to Arizona. Kevin comes to. I met him we had this weekly little sci-fi meeting that a bunch of us had that was chaired by his now wife Rebecca. And I remember Kevin walks in and he's got all this stuff he wants to show me, stuff in a book and letters and whatnot. He shows me a picture of Neil. Neil used to be an avid bike rider. And there's a picture of Neil with his bike in front of the Taj Mahal. Oh. It's this wonderful photo. And so he shows that to me. And then he shows me this sheet of lyrics. Because Neil was always writing stuff down. Always writing stuff. And for a time, it looked like it was going to be maybe the seeds of a joint conceptual work between Neil and Kevin. It didn't become that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that the concept, the joint work came much later with Clockwork Angels, but this was just the lyrics for a song, which became a timeline. And I read the entire this entire poem, and was fascinated by it. And apparently, it was inspired by something that Kevin had sent to him, if I remember right. And I remember then later when the album Roll the Bones came out, and I saw them, and I felt something kind of personal. It was a personal connection. I mean, like I said, I never met the man, never met him, never corresponded with him, but it felt kind of personal to me that I got to understand maybe the basis of that song because of something Kevin showed me that he got from Neil. And I've been checking with Kevin. I checked in with Kevin today, and he's really he's really, really heartbroken. He's grieving badly because he and Neil were very close. They were very close friends, and I know a lot of people are devastated. Neil was not one of these guys who loved the limelight. He hated it. He hated the public adoration, but he understood that was part of the game. Right. So he accepted the fact that people loved him. You know, they loved what he did. He got that. He accepted that they felt that way, but he kind of liked to shy away from it personally. He was a very private man, but terribly intelligent and terribly funny. So wherever you are, Neil, man, I just rock out at that great gig in the sky, and know that your fans will remember you. Yep. Now, I got to move on really quickly. Actually, no, we're going to pass on this. Okay, we don't have time. We're going to pass on this for a second time. We'll talk about it next week.
Doctor Who, what a mess. And now Ben has our weekly recap.
Yes, and the links for each of these articles will be found in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com. Starting off with Sunday, January 5th, Dr. Zombie, Monster Family Physician number 82 from Tommy Cannon. And then January 6th, Monday, TG Geeks episode number 255. Tuesday the 7th, Slam Dance Film Festival to host world premiere of Shoot to Marry. And then on Wednesday the 8th, Bertrand Bonello's Zombie Child opens in New York City, January 24th. On Thursday the 9th, Ben's gay book breakdown, Badlands, is a paranormal ride towards guilty pleasures. I was going to come out with that article a lot sooner, but what happened is just as I was getting ready to start it, a fourth book came out. So I was like, oh, well, crap on that.
As well do all the
Let me finish on the fourth book.
Maybe I can get through it
before she writes another one. My God, I know. And it turns out I think she is doing a fifth one. But I'm glad I was able to get all four books in on that review, on that particular series. And then on Friday the 10th, News Sushi number 94, Morsels of News from Japan and Beyond from the amazing Hamish Downey. And then finally, Saturday 11th, Slam Dance features digital series screening of Take One Thing Off. And that is what we ran.
Yep. And you can find all these things at tggeeks.com as well as entries on our Facebook page. Please visit and comment.
Have to give some shout-outs. First to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News for republishing our content from time to time. It is put up by, well, you heard from him earlier, the Human Arkle, Brian Weber. You can find the Post-Dispatch News on Twitter by finding him on Twitter, and he is Arkle, at ARKLE, and he's also on YouTube. He has Arkle Studios. You can find them by going to youtube.com/Arkle Studios, where he wrapped up the Shameless Cash Grab Season 3, and he is currently playing Star Trek Online. The most current video is Arkle playing the USS B. Arthur. Why? Well, it's our fault.
It appears to be our fault.
It's our fault. He even says so. But we love him for that anyway. Thank you for the shout out.
Yeah. Wow. That game is like...
my brain melted watching it.
Oh, my God.
It melted. I couldn't handle it.
There's
just so much.
too much going on.
I know.
There's just too much going on the screen. I don't know how you do it.
It's because we're old.
It's nuts.
I know. I mean, give me Pong, please. Asteroids. You know,
I might be able to do that.
I might be able to do asteroids. Yeah. Galaxia, forget it. I'm done. We also have to give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, to Gay Geeks After Hours. When I approached their moderators to see if we could share content, they literally did say share away. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours, one word. And then to The Gay Geek, their wonderful moderator, Jeremiah Reeves, whom we adore, granted us permission to share our stuff there. Their URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek, all one word. And again, thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And lastly, we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays, and listen to their other content, the 24-hour geeky internet radio station. You heard their bumper a little bit ago. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where a lot of people do listen, because you can surf the internet on your PC or however your
you can
computer.
do it on your mobile device. I did it. I actually listened to our episode yesterday. I just went to the YouTube app and fired it up.
Yep, and it doesn't interrupt. It doesn't time out or anything. You just keep listening. Just keep on listening. Keep on listening.
You're singing.
Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for the webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Peace.
Cheers.